The Past, Present, and Future of Space War. Introduction. The concept of space war has evolved significantly since the dawn of the space age, driven by technological advancements and geopolitical dynamics. This report outlines the historical context, current developments, and future implications of military operations in space. Historical context: the birth of military space operations. The origins of military involvement in space can be traced back to the end of World War II. The U.S. Army recognized the potential of space as a strategic domain, culminating in the launch of Explorer I on January 31, 1958, marking the first successful U.S. satellite. This event catalyzed the Army's establishment of a formal space policy in 1959, asserting its role alongside other military branches. However, inter-service rivalry, particularly with the Air Force, led to a diminished role for the Army in space initiatives throughout the 1960s and 1970s. During this period, the Army primarily utilized space capabilities, contributing to satellite communications and reconnaissance, although these contributions often went unrecognized. The 1980s marked a revitalization of military space operations, spurred by President Reagan's National Security Decision Directive 42, which highlighted the need for military space capabilities to support national defense. The Army began redefining its role in the space domain, particularly evident during Operation Desert Storm in the early 1990s, which showcased the critical integration of satellite technologies in land warfare. Current developments: the integration of space in military operations. In the 2000s, the Army's space policy became more prescriptive, detailing specific capabilities necessary for modern military operations. However, this shift led to challenges in clarity and understanding. By 2017, the Army sought to integrate space capabilities across its operations, emphasizing the necessity of adapting to the evolving technological landscape. The establishment of the U.S. Space Force in December 2019 marked a significant shift in military space operations, emphasizing the need for a dedicated branch to address the complexities of space warfare. As commercial satellite capabilities expand, the Army must adapt its policies to leverage these developments, ensuring coherent collaboration across military branches. Recent conflicts have underscored the critical role of space technologies in modern warfare. The use of satellite communications, GPS navigation, and reconnaissance has become integral to military operations, emphasizing the need for a cohesive strategy that encompasses both military and commercial space assets. Future implications: shaping space warfare strategy. Looking ahead, the future of space war will be shaped by several key factors, including technological advancements, the increasing number of commercial satellites, and the evolving nature of geopolitical conflicts. The Army must clarify its objectives in space, ensuring that all soldiers understand the significance of space capabilities in supporting overall military missions. The ongoing competition for space dominance among nations will necessitate robust policies that address potential threats and challenges in the space domain. The Army's space policy should articulate a clear purpose, focusing on how space capabilities enhance land warfare and contribute to broader military objectives. As the landscape of space warfare evolves, the Army must remain agile, adapting its strategies and policies to leverage emerging technologies and capabilities. This includes fostering collaboration with commercial entities, enhancing interoperability with allied nations, and investing in research and development to maintain a competitive edge. Conclusion: the evolution of military space operations reflects the changing nature of warfare in the 21st century. From its nascent beginnings in the late 1950s to the establishment of the U.S. Space Force, the trajectory of space war underscores the necessity of adapting to new technological realities and geopolitical dynamics. The future will require cohesive policies that articulate the Army's role in space, ensuring that space capabilities are seamlessly integrated into military operations and contribute to the overall success of the force in a multi-domain environment. The Army must learn from its historical experiences to forge a path that capitalizes on the unique strengths of its service and addresses the challenges of modern warfare in the space domain. The past, present, and future of space warfare reveals several counterintuitive insights that challenge conventional narratives surrounding military engagement in space. 1. Interservice rivalry and initial contributions. It is often assumed that the U.S. military seamlessly integrated space operations into its overarching strategy. However, the reality is that interservice rivalry significantly hindered the Army's early contributions to space. Despite launching Explorer I in 1958, the Army's space policy faced competition from the Air Force and Navy, which dominated space initiatives. This rivalry resulted in the Army being relegated to a supporting role despite its pioneering efforts in satellite technology and reconnaissance capabilities. 2. Misunderstood military role. The perception that the military's involvement in space began primarily in the 1980s with a renewed focus on national defense is misleading. The Army had been engaged in various space-related activities since World War II, yet these contributions were often obscured by the more glamorous narratives surrounding NASA's moon missions. This highlights a counterintuitive aspect of military history. Significant military advancements in space were often eclipsed by civilian achievements, leading to a narrative that undervalued the military's role in shaping early space capabilities. 3. Transformation of space from a support role to a central component. The assumption that space-based capabilities were supplementary to ground operations was transformed during Operation Desert Storm. The conflict demonstrated that space capabilities were not merely supportive but essential for success in land warfare. This realization shifted the Army's perception of space from a peripheral support role to a central component of modern military strategy, challenging the notion that space operations were secondary to traditional ground and air operations. 4. Evolving definitions of space operations. The understanding of what constitutes space operations has evolved significantly. Early definitions were narrow, focusing primarily on satellite communications and reconnaissance. Over time, as the technological landscape expanded, the Army began to view space as integral to all aspects of warfare, including tactical and operational planning. This evolution contradicts the static view of military operations, emphasizing that definitions and roles in warfare adapt in response to technological advancements. 5. Policy complexity and ambiguity. It may seem that clearer policies would naturally lead to more effective space operations. However, the opposite has often been true. The Army's space policies became increasingly verbose and complex, leading to confusion rather than clarity. This complexity has stunted the Army's ability to leverage space capabilities effectively, underscoring the counterintuitive idea that sometimes less detailed policies with clearer objectives can be more effective than prescriptive, convoluted guidelines. 6. Commercial space boom and military adaptation. The rapid growth of commercial space capabilities presents challenges that contradict the historical military dominance in space. As private companies launch thousands of satellites, the military must adapt its strategies and policies to integrate these commercial assets into its operations. This marks a shift from a military-centric view of space to a collaborative model that recognizes the value of commercial contributions, challenging the notion that military space capabilities must be independently developed and executed. 7. Shifting focus from mission support to requirements. The 2017 Army space policy shifted the focus from supporting broader military missions to addressing specific requirements. This change reflects a more fragmented approach, one that may hinder the cohesive use of space capabilities in joint operations. The counterintuitive insight here is that as policies become more tailored to immediate needs, they risk losing sight of the overarching objectives that unify military efforts across domains. 8. The need for clear communication. There is an assumption that military personnel understand the importance of space operations. However, historical evidence shows that many soldiers lacked awareness of how space capabilities directly contribute to their missions. This disconnect indicates a need for better communication and education about the role of space in contemporary warfare, countering the belief that operational success is inherently understood by all service members. 9. The role of technological advancements in shaping strategy. the evolution of military space strategy has often been reactive rather than proactive, shaped by technological advancements rather than strategic foresight. This reality contradicts the assumption that military strategy drives technological development. Instead, it suggests that military operations adapt in response to available technologies, illustrating a complex interplay between strategy and capability development. 10. Future space warfare and multi-domain operations. As the U.S. Army looks to the future, the integration of space capabilities into multi-domain operations challenges the traditional notions of warfare confined to land, air, and sea. This emerging paradigm underscores the need to view space not as a separate domain but as an integral part of a unified military strategy. The counterintuitive implication is that the future of warfare will increasingly rely on the seamless integration of space capabilities into all facets of military operations rather than treating space as an isolated component. These insights collectively illustrate a nuanced understanding of the evolution of space warfare, highlighting the complexities and counterintuitive dynamics that have shaped military operations in this domain. The interplay between policy, technology, and inter-service relationships reflects a broader narrative that challenges simplistic interpretations of military engagement in space. The report on the past, present, and future of space war captures a significant evolution of military operations in the space domain, underscoring the shifting roles and policies of the U.S. Army concerning space capabilities. While many readers may focus on broad historical trends and the establishment of key military programs, several vital aspects may be overlooked which have far-reaching implications for the future of military space operations. Overlooked historical context. One crucial element that many readers might miss is the intense inter-service rivalry that has characterized the U.S. military's approach to space. This rivalry significantly shaped the development and operational strategies of military space capabilities. For instance, the initial establishment of the Army's space policy in 1959 was a reaction to the Army's fears of becoming irrelevant in the space race, especially after launching Explorer I. The report highlights that despite the Army's early initiatives, the Air Force and Navy often overshadowed its contributions, leading to a diminished role for the Army in space operations for decades. Significance. Understanding this historical rivalry is essential for grasping current military dynamics and the establishment of the U.S. Space Force. The legacy of inter-service competition continues to influence how resources and responsibilities are allocated among branches of the military. Recognizing these historical tensions can inform current strategic decisions and help avoid repeating past mistakes. Shift in space policy objectives. Another significant yet often overlooked point is the gradual shift in the Army's space policy objectives over time. The report notes that earlier policies were focused on supporting Army missions and enhancing land warfare. However, recent policies have shifted toward addressing more specific Army requirements rather than overarching military objectives. This change is subtle but critical as it reflects an evolving understanding of how space capabilities integrate into broader military strategies. Significance. This shift indicates a potential fragmentation of purpose within the Army's space operations, which could hinder coordinated efforts across military branches. A lack of clear unified objectives may result in inefficient use of resources and missed opportunities for synergy in multi-domain operations. Addressing this fragmentation should be a priority for future policy development. Commercial space developments. The report also touches on the increasing role of commercial satellites and private sector involvement in space operations, which is a topic that might not receive the attention it deserves. The emergence of commercial space capabilities is reshaping the landscape of military operations in space, offering both challenges and opportunities for the Army. Significance. The Army must adapt its strategies to leverage commercial advancements while ensuring operational security and interoperability with these new systems. This need for adaptation emphasizes the importance of fostering partnerships with the commercial sector to enhance military capabilities and keep pace with technological advancements. Failure to engage effectively with commercial entities could leave the Army at a disadvantage in future conflicts where space capabilities play a decisive role. Future integration and multi-domain operations. The report emphasizes the need for the Army to clarify its objectives in space and how these capabilities enhance land warfare. However, it does not delve deeply into the complexities of integrating space operations within the broader context of multi-domain operations (MDO). As military strategies evolve to encompass operations across land, air, sea, cyber, and space, the integration of space capabilities into MDO becomes critical. Significance: the successful integration of space capabilities into MDO will require a comprehensive understanding of how these assets can enhance situational awareness, decision-making, and overall operational effectiveness. The Army's future space policy must consider this integration to ensure that all soldiers understand the significance of space capabilities in supporting military missions. A clear articulation of the Army's role within MDO frameworks will enhance its effectiveness in future conflicts. The role of policy in space operations. Lastly, the report discusses the evolution of Army space policy over the decades, highlighting that while policies have become more prescriptive, they often lack clarity and coherence. This lack of clarity can lead to confusion about the Army's objectives and capabilities in space. Significance: a clear and coherent space policy is vital for guiding the Army's efforts and ensuring that all personnel understand the strategic importance of space operations. The need for a policy that articulates purpose and objectives is crucial as the Army continues to navigate the complexities of modern warfare. A well-defined policy framework will help align efforts across various military branches and ensure that space capabilities are effectively utilized in support of broader military missions. Conclusion. In summary, while the report provides a comprehensive overview of the history and evolution of military space operations, it is essential to focus on the nuanced elements that may be overlooked. The historical context of interservice rivalry, the shift in policy objectives, the role of commercial developments, the integration of space capabilities into multi-domain operations, and the need for clear policy frameworks are all significant factors that will shape the future of space warfare. Addressing these aspects will help the Army and other military branches effectively leverage space capabilities to enhance operational effectiveness and ensure success in future conflicts. 1. Historical context in interservice rivalry. The historical struggle for dominance in space among U.S. military branches, particularly the Army and Air Force, is crucial to understanding the current and future landscape of military space operations. Initially, the Army led the way with the launch of Explorer I in 1958 and the establishment of an Army space policy. However, interservice rivalry led to the Air Force gaining primary responsibility for space operations, sidelining the Army for decades. This historical context is essential for analyzing present policies and the Army's role in the newly created U.S. Space Force. 2. Integration of space in modern warfare. The critical role of space technologies in contemporary military operations is highlighted through events such as Operation Desert Storm. This conflict demonstrated the necessity of space-based capabilities for navigation, communication, and intelligence support in land warfare. The Army's realization of space's importance marked a shift in operational strategy, underscoring that effective military operations now require the integration of ground forces with space capabilities. 3. Evolution of Army space policy. The evolution of the U.S. Army's space policy illustrates the need for clarity and adaptability in military strategies. Over the decades, policies have oscillated between broad assertions of intent and prescriptive directives outlining specific capabilities. The transition from vague policies in the 1990s to more detailed and prescriptive policies in the 2000s reflects an ongoing struggle to define the Army's role in space and to ensure that space capabilities are effectively leveraged in support of land operations. The clarity and conciseness of future policies are critical as the Army navigates a rapidly evolving space landscape. 4. Future of space warfare and commercial impacts. the future of space warfare will be shaped by the increasing prevalence of commercial satellite technologies alongside military operations. The establishment of the U.S. Space Force and the integration of commercial capabilities necessitate a re-evaluation of the Army's space policies to ensure cohesive operations across military branches and with commercial entities. The Army must articulate a clear vision of how space capabilities enhance its mission in land warfare while fostering collaboration with emerging commercial space initiatives. 1. The Cold War Space Race 1947 to 1991. The geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union following World War II led to a fierce competition for space dominance. Key events included the launch of Sputnik 1 by the USSR in 1957, which marked the beginning of the space age, and the U.S. response with the establishment of NASA. This era was characterized by significant investments in space technology and culminated in the Apollo moon landings in the late 1960s, representing a pivotal moment in both space exploration and military strategy. 2. Operation Desert Storm 1990 to 1991. The Gulf War showcased the critical role of space-based technologies in modern warfare. The U.S. military's use of GPS for navigation, satellite communications for coordination, and reconnaissance satellites for intelligence gathering were integral to the success of coalition forces. This conflict illustrated how space capabilities could be leveraged to enhance ground operations, marking a significant evolution in military strategy that acknowledged the importance of space in warfare. 3. The Star Wars Program 1983 to 1993. Officially known as the Strategic Defense Initiative (SDI). This proposed missile defense system aimed to protect the United States from nuclear missile attacks using space-based technologies. Announced by President Ronald Reagan, the initiative sparked significant debate about the militarization of space and the feasibility of such technologies. Although it was never fully implemented, the SDI highlighted the strategic importance of space in national defense and the potential for future conflicts extending beyond Earth's atmosphere. Future outlook: predictions for the future of space warfare. As we look to the future of space warfare, several key trends and developments are expected to shape military operations in this domain. The evolution of space as a strategic battlefield will be influenced by several factors, including technological advancements, geopolitical dynamics, and the increasing role of commercial entities in space operations. 1. Increased militarization of space. The militarization of space will continue to intensify as nations recognize the strategic importance of space in modern warfare. The establishment of dedicated military branches such as the U.S. Space Force signals a trend where space is viewed as a critical theater of operations. Other nations, particularly China and Russia, are also investing heavily in their military space capabilities, leading to a competitive environment where dominance in space is seen as essential for national security. 2. Integration of commercial space assets. The involvement of commercial entities in space will reshape how military operations are conducted. The increasing number of private satellites and space services will provide military forces with enhanced capabilities in reconnaissance, communication, and navigation. The Department of Defense is likely to forge stronger partnerships with commercial space companies, leading to a hybrid model where military and commercial assets work in tandem. This collaboration will enable rapid deployment of new technologies and enhance operational flexibility. 3. Development of counterspace capabilities. As space becomes more contested, the development of counterspace capabilities will be a priority for many nations. These capabilities may include anti-satellite Assad weapons, electronic warfare systems, and cyber capabilities aimed at disrupting or destroying adversary space assets. The potential for space-to-ground and space-to-space conflict will increase, necessitating robust defensive measures and strategies to protect satellites and other space-based systems. 4. Emergence of space traffic management. With the proliferation of satellites, the need for effective space traffic management will become critical. The increasing risk of collisions in space will prompt the development of international norms and regulations governing space traffic. Countries may collaborate to establish a framework for monitoring and managing space activities, ensuring the sustainability of space operations while minimizing the risk of conflict. 5. Artificial intelligence and autonomous systems. The integration of artificial intelligence (AI) and autonomous systems in space operations will transform military strategies. AI can enhance decision-making processes, improve situational awareness, and enable autonomous spacecraft to conduct surveillance, reconnaissance, and even offensive operations. As these technologies mature, they will reshape the landscape of space warfare, making it more efficient and effective. 6. Space cybersecurity challenges. The vulnerability of space systems to cyber attacks will pose significant challenges for military operations. As military and commercial space assets become more interconnected, the risk of cyber threats increases. Future military strategies will need to prioritize cybersecurity measures to protect sensitive data and operational capabilities from malicious actors. 7. International treaties and norms development. As space becomes a more contested domain, there will be increasing pressure for the establishment of international treaties and norms governing space operations. Initiatives aimed at preventing an arms race in space and promoting responsible behaviors among nations will be essential. Future discussions may lead to binding agreements that limit the deployment of certain weapons in space and establish protocols for conflict resolution. 8. Human presence and operations in space. The future of space warfare may also involve a more significant human presence in space, including the establishment of lunar bases or other off-world military installations. As nations explore and potentially colonize celestial bodies, the strategic implications of having a military footprint beyond Earth will become paramount. This development will create new operational challenges and opportunities for military forces. 9. Focus on multi-domain operations. The concept of multi-domain operations will become increasingly relevant as military leaders recognize the interconnectedness of space, land, sea, air, and cyber domains. Future military strategies will emphasize the integration of capabilities across these domains, enabling forces to operate effectively in a complex and dynamic environment. Coordination between different service branches and international partners will be crucial for success in multi-domain operations. 10. Emerging space economies and resource competition. The potential for resource extraction from celestial bodies such as asteroids and the Moon may lead to competition over space resources. As technology advances, nations and private entities may seek to exploit these resources, further complicating the geopolitical landscape. Future conflicts may revolve around access to and control over these valuable assets, necessitating new strategic frameworks for conflict prevention and resolution. Conclusion. The future of space warfare will be shaped by a combination of technological advancements, geopolitical dynamics, and the increasing role of commercial entities in space operations. As nations navigate this evolving landscape, the importance of strategic planning, international cooperation, and robust policy frameworks will be critical in ensuring the peaceful and sustainable use of space while addressing the challenges posed by militarization and potential conflict. Understanding these trends will be essential for military leaders and policymakers as they prepare for the complexities of warfare in the final frontier.